Do you believe in homeopathy? Do you believe in Samuel Hahnemann and his aphorisms of organon? I have encountered this type of questions from homeopaths many times as angry response to my writings. For them, homeopathy is a sacred belief system, not a scientific knowledge system. It is something to be revered, believed and obeyed. Most homeopaths are believers. They believe that homeopathy is ultimate science, and our master is the greatest scientist of all times. They believe in master, believe in organon, believe in similia similibus curantur, believe in vital force, believe in dynamic drug energy, believe in miasms, believe in immutable fundamental principles, believe in cardinal principles, believe in single drug single dose, believe in Herring laws, believe in drug relationships, believe in words of stalwarts, believe in teachers and gurus. This list of sacred homeopathic beliefs is fascinating as well as unending. They hesitate to accommodate new knowledge that may go against their beliefs. They never ask why, what, how, about their beliefs. They cannot tolerate anybody asking such hard questions. Most of the so-called classical homeopaths prefer to be die-hard fundamentalists, homeopathic fundamentalists. Tougher than even those dreaded religious fundamentalists. They behave themselves like faith healers than scientific medical professionals and physicians. To talk logic, reason and science to such a closed-minded believers community is a tough and dangerous task indeed. Intolerance to criticism and hesitation to updation are the general symptoms of all fundamentalist communities. Without displacing the deep-rooted blind beliefs with scientific knowledge, homeopaths cannot hope homeopathy to become a scientific medical system. Study, research, experiment, learn, know and apply, that is the way of science. Not blind believing and follow. One of the unshakable beliefs among homeopaths is regarding the great damage that could be done to the patient by giving an unnecessary dose of potentized drug, including untimely repetition of even indicated drug. Did anybody ever conduct any scientific experiment to verify whether this belief is right or wrong? Never. They would claim they had such experiences. Some homeopaths have a wonderfully perverted sense of cause-effect relationship. They consider every before-after chronological relationship as cause and effect, and jump into queer conclusions. Once they give a single dose of drug to the patient, everything that follows that dose will be attributed as the miraculous effect of their single dose. Many cures, many aggravations, many side effects are actually the product of this perverted understanding of cause and effect. Somebody said, "My patient got delirious attack after a dose of Bell 200. Another homeopath argues, a patient showed eruptions all over body after a dose of Merck Sol 200. That is a proof that homeopathy drugs have dangerous side effects. Why not these friends do some experiments by giving Bell 200 or Merck Sol to a few more persons and watching the outcome before reaching this type of conclusions? At least on some pet animals. Dear friends, cause-effect relationship is different from before-after relationship. Kindly use some logical thinking and rational experiments before declaring foolish conclusions. That is scientific method. Another unshakable homeopathic belief is regarding the dangers of mixing two or more drugs. Did anybody ever conduct a scientific study to verify it? Never. But they believe so. Remember, we are not even sure about the active principles of potentized drugs. We just believe that our drugs contain dynamic drug energy, only because our great master said so. Without knowing the active principles and their interactions, how can we say mixing of drugs is harmful? Homeopaths believe in vital force and dynamic drug energy, even though they know all the sciences they learned in schools and colleges do not justify those beliefs. They believe, only because they are expected to believe, all those absurd things as the true followers of our great master. They are trained not to ask, why. Take the belief regarding drug relationships. Nobody asked whether any scientific studies were ever done on that subject. Without any scientific proof, We repeat what we were taught by our teachers or read in books. Drug A will antidote drug B. Drug C is complementary to drug D. Drug X is inimical to drug Y, and so on. Very well proving, from hundreds of daily experiences, that all these things are utter nonsense. Hahnemann was a great philosopher, innovator, physician and visionary. But he was a human being, not a prophet or a god. He lived and worked in 18th-century Germany. His works, ideas and theories would bear the historical marks of time, space. He lived and developed his ideas, of course its limitations also. In spite of his great vision that transcends the boundaries of centuries to come, Hahnemann also made a lot of speculations that are obviously unscientific in the present knowledge context. Organon is a great work, unmatched in history of medical literature. But that does not mean each and every words of Organon are immutable truths. If you study Organon with a rational and scientific mindset, you will see that there are a lot of unscientific ideas in Organon, necessitated by the infantile state of scientific knowledge available to Hahnemann 250 years ago. But homeopaths prefer to believe, Organon is ultimate science. We can learn it in two different ways: dogmatic way or creative way. Most homeopaths prefer to study Organon and other works of Hahnemann in the dogmatic way. The teacher or his words are considered to be the ultimate authority here. His words are the ultimate truth. Master is considered to be beyond any mistakes, a know-all, without any limitations. The learner's only duty is to grasp what is spoken by the master. Questions should be asked only to clear any doubts regarding master's words, only to clearly understand the meaning of what he is saying. His theories should be discussed only to learn it perfectly. If you try to question the correctness of master's words, it will never be tolerated. Only permitted relationship between the teacher and learner is guru-disciple relationship. Here learning means believing, and following. The other way of learning is creative learning. Here, the learning by itself becomes a creative process. The books, the ideas, the theories and even the teacher all are tools for the learner in this creative process. Utilizing these available materials and tools, the learner creates his own ideas through this process of learning. In this process, he will have to discard whatever he finds incorrect or unfitting to the ever-growing knowledge system. Learner digests and assimilates the ideas he gets from books or teachers. He asks questions like why, how, what, regarding everything preached. He earnestly verifies the correctness of every idea before they are accepted. Every lesson is dissected, analyzed, verified and then synthesized in a new higher dimension. Creative learning involves creation of new ideas using existing ones. Homeopathy can be learned either way, dogmatically or creatively. My method of learning is latter one. I prefer to call this method dialectical learning. I cannot copy the words of masters and quote them as ultimate truth. Since most of the concepts, tenets and doctrines of homeopathy still remain unverified in a scientific way, I need answers for what, why, how, about them to satisfy my scientific mind. Dogmatic preachers and learners may find it difficult to follow or tolerate what I say about homeopathy. I beg to be excused. According to scientific approach, there are no unquestionable or immutable basic tenets in homeopathy as in any science. Accept nothing as ultimate truth, only because it was spoken by a master. Learning Hahnemann does not mean merely reading and reciting Organon, Chronic Diseases, Materia Medica and other works written by him. We should read not only the printed lines, but read in between lines. I call it creative reading. Creating our own ideas by reading what was written by Hahnemann. We should use our own brains, our own logic, living in our own space-time context. Do not be misguided by reading the works of interpreters, before you are ideologically well equipped. Do not be misguided by reading the works of interpreters. This is very important if you want to understand what Hahnemann really said. Interpreters had done great damage to homeopathy and original teachings of Hahnemann. Many people learn homeopathy using the books written by various authors who interpreted Hahnemann's teachings according to their whims and fancies. The most outstanding example is theory of miasms. If you read Hahnemann's chronic diseases carefully, it would be very clear that Hahnemann was talking about miasms as a chronic disease dispositions caused by the infectious agents of itch, syphilis and gonorrhea. He did not hint about miasms unrelated with infectious materials. But the interpreters made miasmatic analysis a total mess, dragging even genetics and heredity into it. Now, most homeopaths learn miasms from interpreters. We have lot of such examples where interpreters have totally misguided homeopathy. We should learn homeopathy from original works of Hahnemann, using our own brains and logic, to keep ourselves not misguided. Homeopathy will become a genuine scientific medical system, only when homeopaths start to study and practice it as a knowledge system, not as a belief system. The real question is not whether you believe in homeopathy or not. What matters is whether you really know homeopathy scientifically or not. Knowing homeopathy does not mean learning all the aphorisms, principles and laws written by the master, by heart, and reciting it and quoting it here and there without understanding its real meaning or relevance. It does not mean simply reading all books written by stalwarts and interpreters. Knowing homeopathy actually means understanding the essence of Hahnemann's writings in a rational and historical perspective, and updating it in accordance with the latest available scientific knowledge, and applying it as a medical science. Ask yourselves, do you really know homeopathy?